Well, welcome back, or welcome to another one of my videos. It's been a while since you've heard my voice, and a fair bit has happened over the course of that time. I have learned that I should not be making promises, because I cannot hold promises. I'm working on a project that was inspired by my family. Every once in a while, my family likes to get together and play some video game. And I was like, hey, I make video games. Why don't I try and make a video game? And so I've been asking them a lot of questions and giving them polls to see what kind of video game they would want to play. And they want a 2.5D isometric stealth slash heist game with joystick movement in a low poly style. And for the gameplay, they want to be similar to Payday. Day one of this project, I made a simple player movement script and a simple camera system. I mean, the camera system in Unity is pretty simple. You just kind of drag your camera onto your player and then your camera follows it, so you don't really have to do much coding for that. There's no coding at all, actually. But the way I have it, so here's the player. It's just a beam right now. And then in the player we have a few different things. So we got the visual aspect, so that's the blue beam, and we got this cube. That's like his goggles or something, just for example to see where he's looking. In the middle of him we have the camera pivot, and then in that camera pivot we have the main camera. So the camera is pulled back to 77, what's the measurement units in Unity? But yeah, that's the camera position is like this. We got an orthographic, so when you look at it, everything's flat. If we have it in perspectives, it's has that FOV kind of thing, but in orthographic, it's just a flat image from back to front. Then with the camera pivot, I can just rotate it and it always stays focused on the player there. That's because I have the camera pivot here in the player. I do this really complicated and I'm gonna optimize it because right now it's really bad. But we have the player input. This is for a UI joystick in the bottom left here. Yeah, I should also mention this is gonna be a mobile game. I'm gonna make it for Steam as well or something, but most of my family members play on mobile, so I'm going to also make it for mobile. So this player input here, that's for the joystick. I'm gonna get to that later, and this is the script for the joystick. But for day one, I believe, oh no, never mind. Day one, I also added the joystick in day one. But still, we're gonna go over the simple player movement first. So here it is, pretty straightforward script. There's nothing much too complicated. I'll run through it though real quick. So the public character controller, that would be this character controller right here. This is the default controller for Unity. If you watched my other videos when I was doing with Roblox stuff, this is basically like a humanoid. The speed, this is just the walk speed. And then we got the ISO angle, because the isometric games, as you can see, this would be north and south, this would be east and west. But since isometric games shoot on a 45-degree angle, if I was to press W, my character would move in the world up position, not the local, or not the camera up position, so it would move like this. But obviously, if you press W, you would expect to go like this. So the ISO angle here, that'll be an offset for later down here. So then your character walks in the direction that it should be walking. And then we got the public transform visual. All of these are public variables down here in the player movement script. We have the controller, which is right here, you just drag him in there. We got the walk speed, we got the ISO angle, and we got the player visual, which is just the transform, or it's just this player here. So you're just going to drag that over here. So then the script can reference it. We have this update function. Here we get the input. So every frame we're asking if the magnitude of the input direction is greater than 0.1. Then we do all of this. So we first rotate the input direction with the ISO angle. So if you remember, the isometric angle is 45 degrees. So we multiply the input direction by the isometric rotation. So then when you press W, you walk straight in line with the camera. If we have a visual, then we want to rotate the look direction of the visual to the ISO direction. So the player's going to look where we're moving. And then at the very end here, we are going to call the move function. We're going to move him in the ISO direction, and we're going to move him at the speed of 6. And then we want to multiply it by the time, because the update function runs every frame. Some people, if you're running at 200 frames per second or 60 frames per second, your character is going to move at a different speed. But if we multiply it by the time, .delta time, which is just the time between each frame update, then every player is going to move at the exact same speed, no matter what their frames per second is. So I made this in day 1, and I also made this in day 1. This script is pretty much the exact same as this script, except it handles a joystick input. You can look up here, there's a little joystick icon here. So when you click and move that, and then your character just moves in the direction that you're putting the joystick in. And most of it's pretty much the same. Day 2, I made pretty simple enemy movement. So here he is. He is also a bean, but he is red. He also has an eyeball above him. So I'll demonstrate also my player movement. So you can move with WASD, and then the joystick also works. Now to show you the enemy, he just kind of walks in a random direction for a little bit and then switches direction. This isn't actually my first version, but I deleted my first version. Before he just snapped to the direction that he's trying to go, but now he moves smoothly, or smoothly-ish, to change directions. And right now, every single frame, he is firing a ray in front of him. So if I were to walk in front of him, as you can see, he stops moving, and now he is locked on. He's just looking at me. He looks at you, and then he stops looking at you when eye contact is broken. To go through this script, I'm just going to try and go through this really quickly because my throat is starting to hurt. So, as before, we have the 4 values same as the player. We got the visual transform, we got the ISO angle, we got speed, and we got the character control. And we got facing player, which is like a pulse. This is basically it. He's looking at the player. Direction change interval, so this is how often the enemy's going to change directions. We got the rotation speed, which is how fast the enemy will rotate in degrees per second, so 180 degrees per second. We got a vector 3, which is the current direction, which is set to 0. And we got a player direction, which is also set to 0. And then when the script first runs, we call the random direction loop, which is here, and then this will loop forever. And then we pick random direction on both the X and Y, and then the current direction we set to a vector 3, which is the X and Y, and we normalize it so we can't go fast on an angle. And then we yield until the direction change interval. And then we have this check for colliders, which is just ray casting. This is a custom function. So we make a ray called ray, which starts at the visual dot position, and then we put in the direction that the bean is facing. We check if the ray cast has hit anything. Then we print the name of the object that was hit, and then was hit. That's just for debugging. That's not going to be really important for the game. Check if the collider, or the object that was hit, has the tag player, and if it does, we set the speed to 0 so the enemy can't move. We put face player as true, and then we put the player direction is in the direction of the collider. And then if it didn't hit anything, then we set the speed back to 3, and face player is now equal to false. Every frame, again, in the update function, we check if the direction is greater than 0.1. We do basically everything the same as the player movement script. This is the new enemy. With this enemy, it works the same as the other enemy where it walks randomly and has the smoothing so it looks more natural. But instead of this script here where it just shoots one ray in front of the enemy, it has a lot more stuff. It's a lot of code to go through, and I'm not going to explain all of it because I don't want to. But to put it simply though, it has a cone in front of it at a 90-degree angle, so if the player is in front of the enemy within 90 degrees, then it will shoot a ray from the enemy to the player. If the visible by both the ray and also within the angle. The enemy will do the same thing as before. It will lock on to the player, just look right at him until line of sight's broken. The eyeball here is actually getting used now. So as you can see, right now he doesn't see me. But if I go, there you go. So yeah, I'll go find him again. So I'm gonna go in his field of view of 90 degrees. So as you can see, I go in there, and then he locks onto me, and then the red circle grows as he looks at me. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I'll keep you all updated on this. I'll be releasing short clips of what I've been doing, and then I'll probably make a roundup video every once in a while of what I've been doing. This project is currently untitled, so if you have any ideas for a name, let me know. I will see you guys in like 5 months when I make the next video. Peace.